Hey everyone, it's just Saturday, December something. It's getting cold out, and our friend decided she wanted her strut mount fixed. Of course, now that it's getting cold, but anyway, I'm going to show you a few tricks how to see if you have a strut mount gone. And you know, you'll see it's a pretty dead giveaway. One of the problems you'll have driving down the road is your steering wheel. When you turn it, you let go, it'll jerk itself back to center. That's because the bearings on top of the strut, where your wheel, right on top of here, where your wheel pivots, it seized, and what it's doing is twisting the spring in here. I'm going to show you this. You see up in there, the spring actually twists. The top will be holding still, and the tire and that will want to twist it. So when you let go of the steering wheel, it snaps it back. It's supposed to pivot up here, or on the bottom on some of them. So we're going to show you that right now. Now I put you guys down by the front wheel, as you can see. Alright, I'm going to give you a shot of that spring, and hopefully you'll be able to hear what's going on with it. See that snapping? Okay. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, eventually what's going to happen, if that bearing seizes long enough, you keep turning it like this, that spring is going to snap off, and it'll fire, the front end will drop, and it'll fire one of the coils out. The two pieces. It could go through your tire. That'd be very bad if you're going down the highway. I've seen it happen many times where it's come right through the tire, and I've seen it actually go through the opposite way, and it doesn't do anything, but the front end's sitting lower. But anyway, when you start hearing these noises, you got to get it checked out right away, because it'll cost you more money later on if you leave it too long. So the next step is, let's take the tire off, and well, I'll get out of here and I'll show you. You're going to need a specialty spring compressor for this. A lot of places will rent them to you, but I'm going to show you a couple tricks to make life a little bit easier when you're doing this. Because if you haven't done one before and you don't line these springs back up in the right spot, sometimes the mounts are on a slant, or the bottom's on a slant, and if you don't put that back in the right spot, it'll actually rub inside your wheel well, and it'll cause you all kinds of grief and trouble. Okay, so let's get the tire off, get the car jacked up, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I opted to get the whole upper mount thing, and you're going to see why in a minute, because the old one on the underside is all rotted out, and that'll actually break off, cause a lot of trouble too. What I'm going to do first off, since it's hard to see up in there, is just match my bolt pattern up. Kind of eyeball it there, just to make sure you got the right one. And this one looks good. So, all right, I'm going to give you another shot here. You'll see the bottom plate, how rotted it is. Okay, I'm going to show you what I didn't see when I first quoted the job, and I'm glad now that I got the whole thing. Up in here, you see that hole right there? That's a rust hole from our great Canadian winters and the salt. I don't see any broken springs, but that top plate is rotted right out. Okay, this car is rotted worse than I thought, and it's going to take me longer than I want it to. Now, I could have just got a quick strut and put the whole thing in. That probably would have been the way to go. But since, what I mean by quick strut is the strut, the spring, the mount, and everything. That's the way to go. But a lot of people don't have any money, so anyway, first things first. We got this liquid wrench here. We're going to spray all the bolts down. Of course, most of you have already figured that out. Hopefully, we're going to have a hard time with this. I just know it. Okay, so it's a 13/16 turns out, but I forgot my socket anyway. Loosen these two off. Get the two of these pinch bolts here. And depending on how rusty yours are, you may have to hold it here on this side. But take these two nuts off. There's a flex line back here that is bolted to the strut. That needs to come off. Okay, get that all removed, and we'll get back in there. Okay, I've backed the nuts off. You're gonna have to pound these bolts out, so it's better to leave the bolt on, the nut on there a little bit, so you can hit it on something with a hammer so you don't goof the threads up. You start wheeling on that without anything brass or whatever, you're gonna mushroom the bolt over, and you'll get your nut back on. Anyway, so a lot of times you don't have to hit them very hard, but you never know, right? So now that we got that off, let's take the rest of the nut off, both sides, and we'll pull these pins out. Oh yeah, it's worth mentioning too that you should look on these pinch bolts, make sure that it's not adjustable if you're a camber. If it is, you're gonna have to mark it somehow so you can put it back exactly the right way. But I know these aren't adjustable that way, so you'll see if you take these bolts out and you see a long notch on the top hole or the bottom one, then you don't have an adjustable camber. Okay guys. Okay, with the bolts out of there, try not to let this fall too far over because you don't want to pull your axle out, but let's get something in there. Wheel it back and forth, kind of rotate it backwards if you can. You may have to straighten your steering wheel out. I got this one cranked. Now, yeah, I'm gonna have to straighten the wheel out. Anyway, you get the idea. I can see, hear how rough that bearing is up there. Okay, just rotate this back or forward, doesn't matter. As long as your strut will pass on the axle. I think I rotate it back. Watch your axle boot. Okay guys, there's 3 15mm on the top nuts. Loosen this one off, take the other two off. Right before you boat, take that one off. Reach underneath, grab your spring. Okay, so it's going to take a little bit of wiggling. What we're going to do is put this down on the other side of the axle. Pull this over and just kind of drop it, rotate it right out of there. Hopefully. Alrighty. So you can already see, I hope, let me see my camera here. You can see the rot that I was talking about right in there. Breakage. Eventually what would happen is that would just collapse and cause you all kinds of grief like it is right now. Okay guys, let's get the spring compressor over here and we'll take her apart for you. Okay, so this is a Strut Master. Not everybody's going to be able to afford one of these. I tried to borrow a portable one to come home. This one's kind of like a heavy duty shop one. Anyway, what we're going to do is set this up. Each strut is going to be different. Each manufacturer is different, so you're going to have to figure out what you need for your adapters down here and to safely take it off. Okay, let's get the strut over here. Now you can see, because this top plate was rotted out where it was been rubbing and making noise on there. Okay, the only trick you gotta remember is keep everything lined up all the way down. Now, obviously this has a notch on the top plate here. Jeez, I don't think they give me the whole thing. Oh, this isn't good. Anyway, keep that all lined up. You can scratch it or mark it all the way down like that before you take that nut off. Anyway, alright, look at this a little closer. Yeah, this is one of them jobs that, you just never know what you're going to get until you take the thing apart. And I should have realized it by looking at it from below that the part that they gave me, the strut mount, it doesn't come all complete. There's the bearing right there. That just sits in the bottom like that. You get new screws. But what has happened with this one, it's not the bearing so much, it's the friggin' top plate of the strut. You can see that where it's rubbing right there. So putting a bearing in here isn't going to fix it. Damn it. This makes me mad. Yeah, considering it's like now Saturday evening, I can't do nothing about it. Yeah, buddy. Some hunters in the background there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this stuff back and I'll get a used strut Monday for it. I think that's the only way to go now at this stage. If I'd known that plate was rotted out, I would have just got a used strut, slapped the whole thing, and would have been done. Yeah, unless I can weld it, but I don't think so. I don't think that's a good idea. I'm not gonna weld on that. It's had it. You can see the big holes in it right there. Well, it's gonna have to go for a week. Maybe I'll put some grease on it. It'll quiet it up for her enough that she can drive it through the week. Okay, guys. Anyway, what I was saying is, if you're gonna take this off, keep everything straight. Mark the strut, the spring, even the rubber. You can see this one's got a notch in it. The top plate, and sometimes the mount. But in this case, we're gonna take it apart. The next step would be to crank it up a bit, not very much, and loosen the nut off. Don't take it right off though, take an impact gun or whatever. A lot of times if you spin the inside of this strut, it'll heat up and it'll destroy the seals inside here. So you got to be careful with the impact gun. We do it all the time at work. We do short bursts. They tell you not to. They got a little hex on top there. You're supposed to hold that with a wrench or a, whatever and turn it off, but it's kind of hard to get down in there. You can see the problem that you'd have. Yeah, so you don't really have a choice. Okay guys, so the strut bearing was a bust. I took it down a little bit. The strut bearing was rusted, but that was only half its problem. I should know known better, but it's one of those things. Till you get it apart, you just never know what you're gonna get. But worst problem is it's Saturday night and I can't get a used part, so it's better maybe to have these cars Friday night overnight, but it's hard for some people to leave them anyway. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed that, and gals, and you like it, please rate it up. If you don't, rate it down. That way I know what you guys like. Please comment and subscribe. Talk to you guys later. Okay guys, it's now Wednesday night and I plan to finish this strut job. What I've done is I've supported the bottom because when I undo this I don't want the strut to fall out because I want to reuse it. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark everything. Now I only have a black marker on me. White soapstone will be better. Show up a lot more. Anyway, mark everything. It's got a notch out of it. I'm not sure what the new one has. Okay, with slight pressure down on this, so you can see how much I have. Very little. We're going to try to break free the nut and pull it off top without spinning the strut as much as we can possibly avoid. And there's a reason for that. I don't want it to get hot inside and grenade itself. A lot of times these boots are ripped. You can get a pair of vice grips right there and hold the strut rod with the vice grips and it won't hurt it because this shock never bottoms out. Or strut, sorry. You want to keep looking down here and make sure it doesn't come right off. It's coming, but sometimes you're going to have more weight on it. Coming up. And it always gives you a hard time when you're trying to save something. Now I didn't give a shit about this, it would have came right off. Every time I do that I can feel this top coil coming up more and more. There, let go. Okay, we're going to very gently take the top off, but first off I'm going to jack this up a bit more so you can see what the heck's going on here. Sorry about the compressor guys, in a low light situation, but time of year. Okay, you can see the bearings come apart in there a lot. I'm going to have to put a new bearing in it. You can see right there it chewed it all to hell, and the top plate. It's a good thing I have both. Save the top nut. I wish you guys could see this. Anyway, we'll come back to it when I get a light on here. Hang on. Okay, you can see what happened. It flew apart. There's no way of saving this. To put this back together, if you were stuck, maybe, but it'd be very dangerous. Just never know. So I'm going to go ahead and put a new one with it. Okay, let's get the top plate off. First off, we're going to look, see if there's a slant to this strut, and there is. You can see it's hard to see. Down here is closer to, and this is farther. Anyway, let's look at the new one and we'll match it up. Okay, first off, you're going to see that it has a slant to it. Now if you get this thing in the wrong spot, you're going to have the spring rubbing against the firewall or inner fender wall. Anyway, you see it's got a notch right there. Line that up. That goes on the outside, and the isolator rubber should have one too. It's got little holes it rides in here. Make sure that goes on there like that. And your little tits, you might take a pair of pliers, sorry you can't see, and pull those through. Now I had to modify mine because the top plate is a different breed of the rubber. Actually, no, it's the same company, but it's cold, so I couldn't get it in. Anyway, all I did was ground down the sides a little bit. That's what you'll have after. You're looking for this notch here, so that'll go forward. Same thing, guys. Just put it back together. Anyway, just a minute, I'll show you. Okay, so don't forget to put your dust boot back on. It just pulls out of the other one. Sometimes there's a notch in it, like that one. I'm running out of batteries here, guys, so I'll make this quick. Okay, notch on the front. Then you get your bearing. There'll be a white part usually goes down like that. So put that on there like that. Put this back on where the notch is supposed to go. And sometimes your center of your strut will move around, so it's very important that you get this thing level. What I mean by level is level this way and level this way. If you have either of those out, you're going to have trouble, your center of your strut, it won't go back through here. Anyway, jack her down a little bit. And sometimes if the struts wore, you got to pull up on it a bit to get this protrude where you need it. You can see mine's riding against the side here. It might give me trouble putting it back on. There goes my batteries anyway, guys. You can see there, you want this in the center if you can get it. Alright, guys. Sorry about the batteries dying on me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Okay, a little trick here. Put your nut on as far as you can before you let the pressure go. Make sure this top piece, I don't know how this is going to turn out, guys. Low light here. This top piece is on the bearing. We'll worry about this in a second. We can pry this spring into the pocket or push it once this is connected, but I'm going to need two hands for this. But so I might have to hold on here with a screwdriver and push this whole top piece that way as it's coming up. Hopefully I can do it. Ooh, there goes my socket. I need a big screwdriver. Just like that. I'm going to keep it together. Keep those lines on the front where it's supposed to go. A little weight on it. Once it gets going where it has to go, like that, and I'm a little bit off. If I turn it, I will. If not, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I want it to be right where it was. And that should pull it down. And you see this straighten out now. Now we didn't take all the weight off it. And I zap it down a little bit. Make sure I have it. You see it pulling. Okay. Now just see how much height. Okay, we got good. Okay, we'll let the pressure back off it. Lack of air pressure really hurts. No way you're going to get a socket and a wrench on that. So you're going to have to keep going until this hammer's tight. I'll let the compressor catch up with me first. There. Now check it. Nice and smooth. You can see how much gap we got here now. You can remember the old one. You can see where I got you guys pointed. Sorry guys. Remember the old one, it was touching. So that's good. Put it back in the same way you took it out. Anyway guys, I continue with this, but yeah, you can see in my messy garage. I actually got the lawnmower in here. I hope to get at this soon. Okay guys, catch you later.